Time travelers.
Can you tell what plane that is just from the back, the wings and propeller, half a propeller?
I certainly can, Jonny. It's a French one.
Do you want me to uncover it gradually, like catchphrase?
It's got a radial engine, which is very typical for its period.
Radial,
yeah. The cylinder valves are arranged in a circle around the engine block, as opposed to an inline engine, where they are in line. Typically, they're air-cooled rather than liquid-cooled, like a radial engine, which means that they're a bit more reliable. There's no sort of radiator that can be knocked out by enemy fire, causing your engine to overheat.
It doesn't look like it's got any back wheel.
That's a skid. Often they just had a skid.
Would that not leave skid marks on the runway
or the field?
Well, it would be. This is before you have sort of tarmacked, metalled runways, so just field.
So no skid marks. You're saying no skid marks?
No. I think if the ground was particularly wet, there may have been some skiddage.
I imagine that the farmers would be quite happy because they could rent their field out as a landing strip, and then they get sort of a free plough if the planes have a skid.
I don't know how deep it goes. I mean, I've never really considered this before, but I think it might be. I mean, how deep do ploughs go?
How deep is your plough?
Depends, how deep you want your furrow, I suppose. I don't think you need to do it too deep in order to plant a seed. Just enough to disturb the earth, really.
Furrows are often sort of like a good foot deep, though. But my experience of walking on or around fields.
Furrowing. I imagine this plane that we're looking at, the French number, was made of wood.
Indeed. I mean, you can see the struts between the two wings. Clearly a unpainted wooden surface. Would have formed most of the form of the fuselage, which is then covered in a doped linen, a linen that's been coated in special substances. Very lightweight, but pretty fragile. Of course, a lot of metal components, though, as well. The undercarriage, you want that to be pretty robust, and the engine and the cowling around it as well, which is that sort of ring where the fuselage sort of joins the engine, and that's really to give it a bit of aerodynamic pigeage, so that it zips through the air nice and speedy.
Do you think the pilots had to worry about splinters?
I think
probably
they probably would have smoothed down the wooden surfaces and varnished them. I mean, just from an aerodynamic point of view, that's going to give you more slip through the air than an unfinished wooden surface.
That is true, but in the heat of the battles, when planes were getting shot down daily, perhaps they had to rush out unsanded and unpolished, unfinished planes, and then splinters could have potentially been an issue.
Well, yeah, you'd only need a bird strike and you'd have splinters.
Yeah. I mean, it would be not dissimilar, I imagine, to a sort of early modern naval battle with bits of wood flying everywhere.
Yeah, they were very dangerous for the Navy of the seamen, because they would get stuck and embedded in you and cause gangrene and other nasty infections. Like big chunks of wood from an exploding cannon, probably a little bit smaller from a machine gun bullet, but still sizable.
Yeah. Of course, you do get aerial cannon in the First World War, mostly used by the Germans. Pretty experimental still at this stage, but there's a lot to be said about aerial ordnance.
It's a Newport fighter.
Okay.
But I have got a quiz here on flight. We could test Tom's metal and Jonny's.
Yeah, I'm up for a little
Yeah,
quiz.
go for it.
Let's see the military aircraft quiz by Ed Grabianowski. So, Tom, what is notable about the Harrier jump jet?
It's capable of vertical takeoff and landing, the first operational aircraft of its kind. Jet aircraft, fixed wing, I should say.
I mean, this is actually, it's meant to be a multiple choice quiz, but I'm going to leave it out. Just for a bonus point, how does it take off and land vertically? What does it use?
It has it's basically vectored thrust, so it has a Rolls-Royce Pegasus engine in the early variants, and the power from that is ejected through 4 nozzles, 2 on either side of the fuselage, and they can rotate. So either vectoring the thrust downwards, which rises the aircraft off the ground like that, and then as it rotates them to direct the flow of exhaust gases behind it, then it will be capable of horizontal flight. And it can repeat that process for landing as well.
There you go. There's possibly no need to continue with this quiz because you've definitely aced that. I was looking for, thrust. I would like
to point out that had there been a buzz around and I'd have heard Harrier jump jet, I would have buzzed immediately because I also knew that a Harrier jump jet has capabilities of vertical takeoff.
Well, unfortunately, we're not doing buzzers, so.
And Jonny, how does it take off vertically?
Thrust.
Lovely stuff. Well, that's 2-0 to Tom at the Mo. So, Jonny, your turn. Which US World War II fighter plane had a distinctive twin-tail shape?
The Vampire?
Shall I pick it up?
Yeah, that is incorrect, Jonny. Tom?
Is it? Can I have another one? Another guess. The Valkyrie?
Still not right, Jonny. Tom?
What could it be? Is it? It's not the Lockheed P-38 Lightning, is it?
Yeah. I had to look because it didn't have the Lockwing, but it is the P-38 Lightning. I was sure it would be the P-66 Vanguard because Jonny was saying V type words, and that's one of the options. Vanguard. Is that what you were thinking of, Jonny? Vanguard.
I was thinking of the Vampire, but to be fair, it is a British plane.
Yeah, it does have the same twin boom configuration with the cockpit in a central nacelle. But it's a jet aircraft as well.
I'm really glad I'm not in the quiz. Fantastic. Right. 2-2. So this one, I'm going to put this one to Jonny first. The P-40 Warhawk was the primary aircraft of which famous American fighter group known for their toothy nose art? Toothy nose art.
What was the plane again, sorry?
The P-40 Warhawk.
Was it the US Navy? Or Marines?
So that's incorrect. So, Tom, the primary aircraft of which famous American fighter group?
I have a feeling there's a unit called the Flying Tigers who may have operated it.
Yeah.
I believe actually it was the Germans who originated sort of aggressive nose art with lots of gnashing teeth. But it clearly made an impression on Allied forces because they soon introduced it. Not just Americans, the British did as well on their P-40s, which were known as Kitty Hawks or Tomahawks, depending on the variant. Yeah, a nod, of course, to the Wright brothers. So.
I would like to jump in here and just correct Tom for a bonus point that actually the first recorded example was a sea monster on an Italian flying boat all the way back in 1913. But yeah, you are right. The Germans did popularise it.
Always good to be accurate.
Yeah, I don't know if you should have a bonus point there, Jonny.
I think in the spirit of generosity.
I haven't got a single point yet,
Do you wanna
so
give
I
him
think I deserve
Do you want to give him a point?
for
Tom?
accuracy.
Yeah.
All right, you can have a point.
It's a good fact, isn't it?
Are we sure he didn't just Google it?
I did it in typing.
Would I?
Well, just let's bear in mind that your original answer was the Navy.
I wasn't sure that we were going for the specific.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't.
Unfortunately, the US
whatever they call
never
it.
operated the P-40 in US service. It was used exclusively by the US Army Air Force.
I stand corrected.
Yeah, and I think my scoffing at you was based on my own ignorance of it anyway. It's just like, you got boats in the Navy, mate. What are you talking about? Okay, whose turn is it for the first?
I think it might be Tom's now.
Tom, what was the name of the B-29 super fortress that dropped an atomic bomb on Hiroshima?
That's
He gets the easy one.
Yeah, the Enola Gay. It's currently on display. Is it? Ooh.
Where?
I think it's at the Aerospace Museum in Washington, D.C.
Oh, yes.
Let me just do a little
We went there, didn't we,
fact
Johnny?
We did, yeah, it was good. Fantastic song as well, Enola Gay by Orchestral Manoeuvres in the Dark, about the
that's right.
dropping of the
check.
bomb
Yeah.
on Hiroshima. Great synth to it.
Yes, it's at the National Aerospace Museum Stephen F. Udvar-Hazy Centre.
What plane did Britain produce in greater numbers than any other during World War II? Jonny?
Was it the Hurricane?
So Jonny says Hurricane. It's not correct. Tom?
I think it's the obvious answer possibly here, and the Spitfire.
I'm looking for two words.
The Supermarine Spitfire.
Sorry, I just have no idea about it, so it makes me laugh when you say the right thing. Supermarine Spitfire. How many were produced, please? Just for a laugh.
Oh, I would guess about 20,000 odd.
That's quite right. Have you got any auxiliary facts for that one?
How many are left flying today, Tom?
Quite a large number. Quite a large number. I think it's under 100, but it's not significantly below that. And more examples on the static display. The RAF Museum, interestingly, holds 11 examples.
See, I have actually Googled this, and 60 Spitfires are airworthy today. So yeah, 100 was pretty good. I would have said less, to be honest. But then you do see them knocking around at air shows. Every air show worth its salt has a Spitfire.
But yeah, it was produced continuously throughout the war. Production ended after the end of the Second World War. No fewer than 24 variants as well. Began life with the tried and tested Rolls-Royce Merlin engine, which also saw many applications in old favourites like Mosquitoes and Lancasters. But later variants had the much beefier Griffin engine, and you can usually see that by the cowling at the front of the aircraft is a bit less streamlined, a bit chunkier is the technical term that we use.
Why do British people love Spitfires so much compared to other war planes, do you think?
Well, I think there's something about its lines. It's particularly elegant. It's iconic. It just looks right. And I think the Hurricane, for instance, I mean, famously the Hurricane's role in the Battle of Britain is overlooked in the public consciousness, and preeminence is awarded to the Spitfire. And I think it's simply a question of aesthetics as well. I mean, the Hurricane's not bad looking plane, but the Spitfire just has that real what's that word?
Je ne sais quoi.
Je ne sais quoi. Yeah, panache.
Panache.
The Spitfire's got some real
Whoa,
panache
careful with
about them.
all these French words. They're very British.
I think the Spitfire also has a great name that helps it. If it was called Spit Water or Spit Mud or Spit Acid, even something sort of cool like that, it wouldn't have the same ring. But Spitfire is just such a good name.
I think you're right though, Jonny. There, I mean, I've told you the Spit Water bit, but I'm just looking at the other names of them. Hornet, that's sort of cool, but was Spitfire made as a word then, as it were? Was it made up? Did they put spit and fire together?
That's a very interesting question, and I'm not sure I know the answer to that one. Actually.
Yeah, no, sorry, that's a.
I mean, this is a whole topic in itself.
Oh, I know. Yeah,
British naming.
Being a fighter aircraft, that's pretty much what it did, right? When it's got its guns blazing, its cannons firing, it is spitting fire.
It was
super... be quite a good analogy.
According to the first thing that's popped up on Google, it was Supermarines chairman Robert McLean who chose the name after his daughter's nickname, Spitfire, because she was a firecracker. Allegedly. Rumoured. She's a little Spitfire, he's meant to have said. Bollocks.
If she had sat at the dinner table spitting water when she was throwing a tantrum, it could have been so much different. And indeed. Spitfire maybe never would have got that fame.
If she was like my nephew, then it would be called the Spit Musaka.
Much that once was is lost. We are time stricken, for I can see what is to come. We are time stricken. Much that once was is lost. Go back, learn the lessons. It is the only way to avoid catastrophe.
You've still got 1 point, Jonny. I hope you're going to pull it out of the bag. Okay. What primary role does the AH-64 Apache helicopter play? Ouch!
Did you get clawed then by a beast?
No, I got a bit.
I assume you're looking for a gunship, like infantry support, tank destruction.
That's why. I'm sorry, Jonny. I got distracted by my pussy there.
I was saying a gunship, so supporting the infantry, wiping out tanks.
Yeah,
being the killer on the battlefield, the thing that levels everything else.
You're going to get 2 points for that because they just said attack helicopter and you expanded nicely. So well done there. Oh, I know this one. This is the first one I actually know the answer to. Whose turn is it? Tom. The planes widely known as Zeros were used by what nation in World War II?
They were used by the Imperial Japanese Navy in the Second World War. The Mitsubishi A6M0.
Were they the
widely...
ones... Yeah, sorry, carry on.
No, you go.
No, you go. I didn't need to
say
interrupt.
Widely regarded as one of the finest fighters in the opening stages of the Second World War, but it had, it was lightly built. It was extremely agile, had a very long range, which is very useful for naval operations. Very successful in the early stages, but the Americans, naval fighters, things like Hellcats and Wildcats, soon developed tactics to find its weaknesses. They were a little bit faster but more cumbersome. They adopted a system called boom and zoom, or zoom and boom. Not sure which way around. But they would make one passing attack on the Zero and try and avoid, wherever possible, getting into protracted dogfights, because the Zero that's the environment in which the Zero would really, really dominate. And you don't want to get into that situation with it. Make a pass, try and get it. If you miss, get out.
That's correct. I was going to ask something about Zeros. I can't remember. I know I was going to
say, were those the ones...
that what? Sorry?
You started saying, were those the ones that...
Kamikaze.
The kamikaze is interesting. So there was a bespoke aircraft developed for kamikaze operations, which was the Yokosuka Oka. which was a jet-powered aircraft, had a very short range, and it would have to be deployed by a mothership, usually something like the G4M Betty bomber, and then it had about 20-30 miles accelerate towards Allied shipping. But the vast majority of kamikaze aircraft were anything that the Japanese could get their hands on to repurpose in that role. So I'm sure that there would be spare A6M0s lying around that would be used for that purposes
Just
in the
literally
closing stages for
throwing everything at it.
Yeah.
Are there many of those still around?
Zeros.
The kamikaze ones.
Yes, there is one on display at the RF Museum in London, which you can go and visit. Very nice example. It's quite moving, really, but it has a very elegant emblem of a cherry blossom painted on the side, which cherry blossom is very important in Japanese culture, and I don't really feel qualified to talk about it. But it's supposed to represent the ephemerality of life and its fragility and temporary nature, and the fact that you are painting that symbol on the side of an aircraft where you're expecting sort of very, very young men, many of them under 20, to sacrifice their lives for a completely lost cause is really quite tragic.
Grotesque. I'm gonna do the next few kind of quick fire. So if you each want to just shout out the first one to get the answer, just shout it out. Ready, Jonny?
Maybe we should have a buzzer noise.
What noise do you want to do, Jonny?
Just first to the right answer, I reckon. You can make a buzzer noise if you like, but it'll slow you down.
I would have done a klaxon Clarkson. The Clarkson.
Very good.
Well, I'll put one in post. That'd be fun. Okay, so what's the maximum payload of the B-52 Stratofortress?
52.
Jonny's saying 52. Tom?
52 what? Like, you need to qualify it with units.
52 bombs.
Of what size and weight, though? I mean, I'm gonna say
varying.
I'm gonna say 100,000 pounds of ordnance.
I reckon. Well, there's three options, and the highest is £70,000. So I reckon it's going to be that one. Correct.
I reckon so. I'm just going to have a very quick comfort break, if that's okay with everyone.
Yeah, sure. I mean,
all right.
We probably won't do too much more anyway. I wouldn't have thought, but
okay.
Have your comfort. No,
I will. Thank you.
So in that 70,000, you could have fit 52 1.3 ton bombs.
What 52? What type of bomb again?
1.3 K. 1,300 pound bomb. 52 of them.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
I'm not wrong.
You're not wrong there. That is about the size of a bomb, like British 12,000 pound bomb. According to the first thing I've seen on Google Images, that is about the size of a bomb. I think you might have to have a point for that, Jonny. We'll check with Tom when he's back.
Need all the points I can get at this stage, so I'll take them by hook or crook.
I've also helpfully stopped counting because I just assumed that you weren't going to win.
Such lack of faith in my ability to rally, to come back at the end strong.
It's not your fault. You're just outgunned. Like I would have done worse than you, and wouldn't even have been able to name a wrong aeroplane. But it's good. It's doing well, and it's jogging lovely little facts out of Tom as well. think we can get a nice little 30-minute edit out of this already. That'll be really good fun. Hello.
Hello.
Jonny has come up with that seemed quite a clever thing. You know, his answer was 52 bombs.
Yeah.
Tell him, Jonny.
If the payload is around £70,000 and we assume the bombs are between like £1,200 to £1,300, fairly standard bomb size, then 52 would actually fit pretty well, given a little bit of buffer for dead space.
Although standard bomb's kind of £1,000.
Yeah, that's the buffer for dead space, right? And I didn't specify what bombs. I'm expecting like them to have some of the bigger boys, a mix of mainly the standard, but also some bigger boys as well.
It's not a bad. It's not a bad.
It's not a bad estimate. What is the thing? A Hurricane? How many bombs in a B-52? Unmodified could carry only 27. But the big belly could carry 42. Could carry either 84 500-pound bombs or 42 750-pound bombs. So you're only 10 off. You even got the 2. Oh, it's because you just said B-52.
Because I assume it can carry 52 bombs if it's a B-52.
I've got here it's saying that it can take 51, which makes you wonder if that's why it was called the B-52. Oh, God.
Sorry, I've ruined the quickfire nature of this.
No, it's all right. Okay, here's the next question. What's in a B-52 cocktail? I've added this one.
Bit of rum, maybe?
Yeah. Vodka.
No. Kahlua, Irish cream, and Grand Marnier. Great. So moving to the next quiz. Whose turn? Tom.
That's quickfire, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Okay. The Fokker Doctor 1 was a tri-wing World War I fighter plane commonly associated with which legendary German pilot?
Red Baron.
Yeah. Von Richthofen.
Yeah. Nice one.
I've been waiting for Red Baron to come up. Literally, it was on the tip of my tongue for nearly every answer. So glad I've got it off there.
Which was the first jet to be used in combat?
The Vampire.
That's the Messerschmitt ME-262.
Before I reveal the answer, Jonny, can you guess which one is right?
Considering Tom's expertise and the way he's devoted the last 5 or 6 years of his life to World War II aviation.
Don't say 5 years. It makes it sound like he's just taken it up recently as a hobby.
I said 5 or 6. How long has it been, Tom?
It's 5.
Oh, beg your pardon.
5 years and about 3 weeks.
Yeah,
I mean, Tom's a young man, isn't he? Look at it.
You worked at other museums before that, right?
Yeah, but not on
anyway,
this
I'm going to go with Tom. I
Yeah,
think
fair,
Tom's
right.
got me.
Yeah, Tom wins that one. It was the Messerschmitt ME-262.
ME-262.
Me. The A-10 Thunderbolt 2 is commonly known by what
Warthog.
nickname?
What? Yeah.
No need for that, Jonny. Tom, have you got an answer?
Jonny had it right.
Jonny had it right. God, I wish I had kept count, because Johnny's he's raking it in, sort of.
Sure, I need to get faster.
Right, we'll have 2 more. What's the largest airplane in the world? Or aeroplane?
Vulcan. Oh, the Ukrainian
Spruce
one
Goose.
that got destroyed.
Oh shit! Yeah.
Can't remember what it's called. It looks like a bit like a beluga whale. Is that its nickname, the beluga? It's not the largest plane anymore, though, is it? So.
Oh, really? What is then?
So, it was the Antonov Maria, AN-225 Maria.
That sounds right to me.
I knew that it was destroyed very recently, within the last year or 2, as a result of the Ukraine conflict.
Oh gosh!
It was on the runway in Kyiv airport, wasn't it?
Oh no!
Possibly, runway or hangar, but it was
And only
one of
one
the
was
casualties
built.
of the war.
Only one was ever built. Larger and heavier it was than any other plane in the world. Currently in commercial service, no longer a plane. Almost 6 stories tall. But we'll have to add to this. Now destroyed. Well, that's made me feel really chirpy. We might leave it on that one. Well done, Tom. Well done, Jonny, for keeping your pecker up. Did better than I would have done.
Can I pick your expert brain on a question that's bugged me for a while, Tom?
Yes.
Going back to World War One again in aviation at this time, because this is the current period we're looking at, just about to launch forth. I'm aware that they sent over airships, or the Germans sent over airships to bomb London. In my mind, that is a very silly idea because it should be ridiculously easy to take down a balloon, which is basically what it is, with like an air rifle or a well-placed crossbow dart or something. Like you shoot a hole in it and it flies off or explodes like the Hindenburg. I think that's not the case because they surely did bomb quite a lot and were quite effective. But why were they so resilient if they're a big balloon?
I think the issue is that they were at altitude sufficient that they could not be hit by ground fire with any of the artillery that was then positioned in the UK. And this was before really effective anti-aircraft artillery was developed. And also the performance of fighter aircraft at the time, especially at high altitude, was again not very well developed. And although airships were a little bit slower than fighters, they had the advantage that when they arrived over British skies, they were already at altitude. A British fighter scrambled to intercept them would have to spend a hell of a lot of time climbing just to get within range. And that is why they were able to operate with relative amounts of impunity during this period.
That's very interesting. So just simply they were too high is the basic answer why they weren't easily shot down.
Yeah, and I mean, altitude was always like the real shield that if you wanted to bomb an enemy, the higher you got, yes, there's penalties on accuracy, but for most of the early 20th century, height gave you a real advantage to operate without danger of interception. And that really went through to the Second World War, where you've got British bombers like the Short Stirling, massive thing, the biggest British bomber produced in the war. Its altitude limited to little over sort of 12 to 16,000 feet, and just not good enough because German artillery can hit it. Lancaster, which can fly significantly higher, is significantly safer and has significantly higher survival rates, and is just much more effective at not only allowing its payload to be released on target, but also bringing the airframe and its air crew home safely. This doctrine sort of followed into the Cold War as well, where you've got early bombers like the Canberra and also the V-Force, Victor, Vulcan, Valiant, all of which capable of flying really, really, really high. The idea being that the Soviets would have nothing that could counter them. And then, of course, all of that changed in 1960 when Gary Powell's U-2 was shot down by a Soviet surface-to-air missile. And almost overnight, tactics had to change, be that with RAF Falcons, US Air Force B-52s. Suddenly, that concept of the high-flying strategic bomber was dead in the water.
Cheers, Gary.
Yeah, thanks, Gary.
Wow. Well, what an explanation. Plane that is just from the wings and propeller, half a propeller.
I certainly can, Jonny. It's a French one.
Do you want me to uncover it gradually like catchphrase?